get started on a great tutorial using some bare copper, 20 gauge wire and 24 gauge wire to make these lovely earrings for the summer. They could take you even into the holiday season with holiday colors. Fall and Christmas are just around the corner, believe it or not. You could put in any kind of stone in here to match whatever you're doing. You could also make it as short as you would like. These are 3.5 inches, but today we're going to use the same model, and I thought we would do these lovely blue agate beads. There's already kind of like a graduation of color from dark to light, so I thought we would have these dark, and they're just lovely, 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 lovely. So let's make these using these. First, we'll need to measure 3.5 inches of 16 gauge wire. Make sure your wire is flush cut. Now, like I said before, you don't have to make them that long. Every now and then I do wear long earrings. They're just fun, especially if you have your hair up. They're super cute. Give this a nice little flush cut here. And then I do not use my ruler to measure the second one. I use the piece that I already cut. You get a little bit more of an accurate matching piece if you use the one that you already cut. Remember, 3.5 inches, 16 gauge. Give your wires some straightening. I do like to hold one end with some flat nose pliers, needle nose pliers, whatever you have, and give some straightening. Tools to continue on making these lovely earrings. You're going to need 2 kinds of hammers, a chasing hammer, nylon hammers, some nylon pliers, chain nose, flush cutters. The 2 special things that you will need are going to be 6-step bail making pliers and these large bail making pliers. If you haven't gotten these are great to have in your arsenal of tools, and they will come in handy. You might not use them every day, but you will use these pliers. Now that we have 2 pieces of 3.5 16 gauge wire straightened, I'm going to put the loop at the end that attaches to the ear wire first. I just, for some reason, find that it helps get it lined up better. And I will do that loop on both of them first. Our next thing that we are going to do is measure out on our wire where our bends are going to go. So I will take this loop that we just made and just put it on any side outside of an inch marker. Then I will go down and mark on our wire at the 1/2 inch spots on our wire. I'm going to go ahead and do it for both. Okay, this is a very helpful little tip. See how our one loop is going this way? When we go to make our marks on the next one, turn your wire so that the loop is facing the other way. This makes a nice mirrored effect on your earring once it's done. Plus, it also helps kind of tell you and show you what is the front side of your earring. Again, marking at the 1/2 inch marks. Now we're ready to get our large bail making pliers out. We're using the largest step. I apologize that I do not know how many millimeters this is. Okay, I'm putting my wire, positioning it on there, right on that mark that we made, and I'm putting the bail on the side of the wire where I want the opening of our bend to go. Make sure that your wire doesn't flip or turn. And just a nice gentle bend on either side of this wire, creating our first bend of these beautiful earrings that are great for any occasion. Flip your pliers around now that your bail is away from you. Go to the next mark on our wire. Make sure you bring this all the way down to the biggest bail. And right on that mark, and just gently bend around the bail. Something I would love to get, and I haven't gotten it yet. Let me know your recommendations. Is one of those, it's a nylon jaw plier, but it's one for making bends in bracelets. Man, I would love to get one of those. Oops. No, I want this way. It's like a mind game. Which way to do this? It's like Tetris. I flipped my pliers, and now they're facing towards me to make this final bend right on our mark. It kind of looks like a shadow, but it's down in there. And pressing down. So now we have this nice little wave. Let's do it again with the next one. Okay, so let me think about how this is going. So now I want the wave to be on this side. So now I'm going to start with my pliers away from me. All I can really say about that is just really, really think before you start to do any wrapping or any bending. Is this the right way? Like chess, you gotta think about your moves ahead of time. I'm turning my pliers, moving down to the next mark on our wire. And then gently pressing around. It's kind of like half bends. We're not using this whole bail. We're just using it as a shape to give us some wave here. All right, turning. So now the bail is away. Go down to the next spot on our on the wire, and giving a gentle bend. And try to envision this as, even though it's a wave, you kind of want it going in a straight line, if that makes any sense. All right. So now we have two wonderful mirrored shapes here. Let's give it a little hammering out. I'm going to take my nylon hammer and just see those nice little marks that mark that we put on there. That's going to remind us of what is the front of our earrings. Really comes in helpful, and they're easy to remove with some alcohol. We've got to hammer out this end first to flatten it out. If you look at the bottom of this model piece, you'll see that it's been hammered out, slightly textured. This will keep the wire in place, or wrapping wire in place. So as you hammer, I kind of do it's almost like a scooping. And that will draw it out to you. And then switching to the ball side of our hammer, just some slight texture. Let's do a little filing. I like to hang it over the side of my bench block to file it, because I don't know if you remember, in a couple of videos ago, I had cut my finger, this middle finger, really bad. You can't see it, but underneath this nail polish is this most horrendous cut, and the nail polish makes this wonderful band-aid. And I don't want to mess up my nail polish, so if you hang this over your bench block, then you're not as likely to scratch up your nail polish. I'm really rough on my hands too, so I'm always hurting myself. Okay, I think that works. Let's begin our wrapping our 24 gauge onto our base wire. Since we're wanting our wire to come out over top of our base wire, we're going to start underneath the wire. This is a little fiddly. I always find this difficult to start. If you have some tips or tricks of how to start an anchor wire a little easier than what I'm doing here, I would so appreciate it. I do find that it's a little easier to hold it with some chain nose pliers, and then you can kind of do the wrappings a little better. You can get started better. There's nothing to hold on to, so I struggle with that. But I do find if you hold with your chain nose pliers, I'm going to do 5 wraps. I've got 4. I'm going to do one more. coming out on the side that is leading into our space that we're going to fill with our lovely beads, whatever you have chosen. I'm going to go, while I'm at it, I'm going to trim this off and give a little pinch down, more than that, and pinch that together. Now we are ready to put on our first of these blue agates. So beautiful, and I thought would contrast so nicely with this copper. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Orange and blue are opposite on the color wheel, so they always bring out each other's gloriousness. And obviously it's going to fit this 24 gauge wire. I probably could have gone a little thicker, but that's what I had right now, so that's what we're going to use. Now we've slid our bead down, bring it into this little open spot. Kind of envision it hanging out there and where this needs to come, and then wrap. Again, doing 5 wraps to match what we started. Giving a little pinch. And we're ready to put the next one on. Turning a little bit so it makes it a little easier to maneuver. Kind of bending it. And we're bringing the wire over top, our base wire, the 24 gauge over the 16 gauge. And you just turn it however it's best for you to access what you're doing. Everybody kind of works differently. I noticed that from doing crochet and knitting and stuff. Everyone has their preference of how they like to hold things. And 5 wraps again, coming out into our vacant spot here so we can apply. Slide on the next bead. Man, these are so beautiful. They're so vibrantly ocean blue. I just love it. Kind of give it a little nice little bend in there. Holding that bead back, I tell you. And then finishing off with 3, 4, and 5 wraps. Turning. Trimming, and then taking our chain nose pliers and pressing down. Very, very lovely. Just very beautiful. I just got back from the beach. I wish I'd had these for the beach. They would have been so pretty. Let's do the next one. Okay, I've picked up my other piece that matches this base wire. It's a nice little mirror reflection, as you can see. Ooh, so lovely. And I've got my 24 gauge wire here ready to go, thinking about how do I need to hold this to get it to do what I want to do. I am going to hold it so that it's from underneath, so that it comes back out over top into this open space. You want your wire to come out and end over here. You have to think ahead of time. I don't know how many times that I have started wrapping and it was going in the wrong, it came out on the wrong end based on how many wraps. I'm doing 5 wraps, so I need it to come out into this open space so that we can add, how many was that? 4? Okay, 1 more. And then let's check to see how far it needs to come down, just a smidge. Just get a little slide with your fingers. Or if you need to, press it down before you pinch, you know? And let me trim. Or they're flush cutters. Great little cutters from Xuron. Great chain nose pliers from Xuron. It's so small, they're great to get in tiny spots. Now we are ready to anchor on our first bead. I'm going to give a little straighten to this. I don't like to see those little kinks. Okay. Lovely. Also, you can tell, I can still see our marks. That's how I knew which way to, I meant to say that earlier, that it really comes in handy so you really know, is this the right direction? Is this the right side? Okay, I'm gonna bump this out just a little bit. Also gives some nice movement if it's not slammed up against the base wire. If it's kind of angled out just a little bit, you get a little more movement. And remember, 5 wraps. We've got our 5 wraps. Pinch down a little bit. Oh, I put a tiny kink in that. I don't want that. Should be all right. Ready for our next bead to slide on. Kind of giving it a slight bump out of the wire. And wrapping 5 more times to anchor in this bead. Okay. Third and final bead. Wrapping 3, 4, and 5 for our final wrap of these wonderful earrings for the beach. If your favorite color is blue, whatever you want. And here we have it, the final piece. Wow. Wonderful for the beach or your favorite blue outfit. Again, you could maybe cut it to 2.5 inches to make it maybe only 2 beads. If you don't want it so long, this measures, don't have the ear wires on there yet, but the earring itself is 3 inches long. So if you like a nice long earring that's got some impact with color, you could do different color beads. This is going to be a great organic, very unique earring for your favorite outfit. I mean, I mentioned earlier, I just got back from the beach. I mean, if that doesn't say beach, waves and blue, yes, that would have been so lovely. So I'm hoping that you enjoyed this, that you learned something new, got to use some new tools. Always enjoy having you tuned in for another great tutorial. Please leave a comment, leave your thoughts and anything that you would like to see here on the channel. And I really so do look forward to seeing you in the next video.